Now it's time for our panel discussion. Let me introduce our panelists. He is a best-selling author of patriotic books, including The 12 Little Things Every Filipino Can Do to Help Our Country and 500 Years Without Love. A former president and CEO of ISA, a public institute that implements and runs development and governance programs in various LGUs and NGAs, national government agencies like the Board of Investments, Civil Service Commission, Department of Trade and Industry, Armed Forces of the Philippines, among others. He is also partner and co-founder of the Malcolm Law Firm in Ortigas, Pasig City. Let's welcome Atty. Alex Lacson. Our next panelist is the President and CEO of Rampver Financials, a dynamic player in financial services specializing in investments and one of the biggest distributors of managed funds in the Philippines. He is a serial entrepreneur who is involved in diverse businesses and endeavors. He also serves as an independent director of leading PSE-listed companies in various industries. He holds a master's degree in business management with distinction from the Asian Institute of Management. He is a fellow with distinction at the Life Management Institute of Atlanta, Georgia, USA, and was a professional of marketing and computational finance at the De La Salle University Graduate School of Business, where he taught strategic marketing, services marketing, and strategy. He is also a business speaker for leadership and investments and author of 2 national best-selling books. He is also one of the mentors for Bo Sanchez's Truly Rich Club Platinum Wealth Circle. Welcome, Sir Rex Medoza. Myrna Tam Natividad, also known as Mommy N, received her award in London, UK as one of the 100 most influential Filipina women in the world in 2018, given by the Filipina Women's Network based in USA. She was also awarded as the first female entrepreneur of the year of Zamboanga City in 2017 by no less than the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI. What Mommy N is most proud of are the more than 20 business failures that she experienced, where she incurred a debt of millions of pesos. It was there that she learned all the lessons that she shares with all her mentees so that they will not commit the same mistakes and lose a lot of money as she did. It was from these mistakes and lessons that she discovered her formula for success. One of these formulas is the Grow Your Business Pinoy Roadmap, which she generously shares in her book entitled Grow Your Business Pinoy, your practical and proven roadmap on how you can make more money by doing less. Let's invite on stage Mommy N. Our last panelist is none other than the founder of Wright University, a best-selling author, a trusted global speaker on gratitude and creativity, and the founder of the 90-Day Book Writing Challenge. Let's welcome back Sha Nacino. The panel discussion will be moderated by Wright University's very own Kat Aristorenas. Aside from her work in Wright University, Kat is also an internationally certified Clifton Strengths Coach. Her mission is to help other people embrace that they are wonderfully made so individuals can set their strengths and the world on fire. She does this through workshops on positive psychology, theology of the body, and through singing. Let's welcome back Kat.
So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome Atty. Alex, Sir Rex, and Mommy N. Thank you very much for being with us with Wright University with that this afternoon. We are very honored to have you with us. All right, so our purpose together this afternoon for our panel discussion, well, just to backtrack a bit, in recent years, the self-publishing industry has been flourishing with the emergence of the term authorpreneur floating around. And so our purpose for this afternoon is really to be able to share your experiences, your insights on book writing and being an author, so we can empower more Filipinos to realize their dreams of writing a book. And this is very much in line with the summit's name this afternoon, Filipino Authors Summit. But at this point, let me just address our audience. To our audience, to our viewers, we have a very special panel this afternoon, and we'd really like to encourage you. If you have questions already in your minds about becoming an author, kindly comment them down below so that we can actually address them to our panelists later. If you have specific questions for our panelists as well, don't be shy, just type them below and we'll get back to them later. All right. So, to our dear panelists, let me address this question to anyone. Feel free to answer who goes first. It's fine. Before you wrote your book and became also national best-selling authors, have you always been a writer?
Who's answering first? Who's
Maybe
answering
that
first?
Feel
Alex may be
free.
the best among all of us, the best writer there is. I guess we all know who that is, Attorney Alex.
No, no, no. No. I was a writer of love letters before I no, no, no.
Wow.
I was in PMA for more than 3 years in the 80s, late 80s. And at the time, of course, wala pang cell phone, wala pang internet, wala pang computer. And since I am from the province, and nandun yung parents ko, nandun yung girlfriend ko, and nasa Baguio ako nag-aaral. And so it would take 1 month before the letter would arrive to me. So susulat ako ng mahabang nobela to my girlfriend, to my mother, and ganun yun parate. Ganun yun parate. So almost every month, I would write that. Then, but of course, in high school, I was a writer, no? But not really that, ano, no? Then in college, I was also a contributor. Then, right after I became a lawyer in 1996, I became a columnist, the youngest columnist in Business World for 7 years before I wrote my book. Yeah, but I started as a love letter writer.
That's good to know, Attorney Alex. So, everyone in the audience, we can start with writing love letters, and then we can eventually evolve into national best-selling authors. So that gives us hope. All right. Anyone can go next, Mommy N or Sir Rex.
Yeah, I'd like to go next, no? Kasi nabanggit na ni Attorney Alex yung love letter. So, nahalata yung mga age namin. So, yeah, I'd like to say that I was never a writer, but now that you mention it, Attorney Alex, ako naman sumasagot ng love letters. Wow.
Wow.
Sana all.
Yeah, oo. Oh, and sorry, Miss Sha, hindi na uso ngayon ng hindi na uso ngayon ng love letters.
Love
But during our
letters.
time, it was something we did. Pero ako naman, the only writing I did actually was to comply with the school requirements and sa pagjo-journal ko because that was my way of praying to God. So ang aking writing, it was really never intended for the eyes of other people except my boyfriend and myself. Yun lang. So, Miss Kat.
Opo. So, maghihintay po ako ng magsusulat sa akin para makasagot ako ng love letter. So, hopefully, kung nandyan naman sa audience, nag-aantay lang ako. Di ba si Sha din, nag-aantay
Oo.
din.
Mga retirees na yon, mga retirees na. Sila lang ang marunong magsulat ng love letters ngayon.
Yes, yes. And just at this point, no, I also recall hearing stories lang from my mom, no, even my lola, that she would receive these, ang ganda po kasi parang flowery words,
Yeah.
no, from my lolo. And I think she even showed a sheet, no, to me. And I was really amazed because yung pagiging poetic nyo rin po, maybe that also came out there in your letters, Attorney Alex and Mommy N. What about Sir Rex? I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
A lot of people know me as a speaker, not a writer. Now, I've always been part of events, conferences. I usually contribute based on industry platforms. But I wrote, much like Attorney Alex, I wrote for Business World, but directed at investments and financial services. So maybe that's where I really started, but never never was there a time when I really thought I'll be writing a book. So the writing, I would agree, no, pero siguro much more relevant to speak about it now because Mommy N talked about it and Alex talked about it, the love letters, no. Alam nyo ba, the very first letter I wrote my wife to the last letter I just wrote her for Mother's Day. Kompleto yon. Nakalagay yon sa isang lalagyan and our children can actually open any and read any.
Wow.
That's I think what we had then that people don't have now. Kasi 'di ba
Yeah.
pag emails, text na bura na, 'di ba kahit magaganda yung
Yeah.
words, you can never go back to them. Eh. You know what's nice about those letters, even those cards, is that pwede mong ulit-ulitin. And that's the reason why, you know, when you feel a little bad, sabi nga nila, depressing itong pandemic na to, you know, all I need to do is to like take 2 or 3 of those envelopes and all of a sudden I'm taken to a cherished moment years before. So, mabilis yung recovery ng ating emotion because of that. I think that's what's missing. So even today, we make it a point, even in the world of technology today, even our children, they write us letters. They write us real letters in their handwriting. Or minsan, hindi mo na maiiwasan talagang nasa computer, ipiprint nila dahil mas maganda daw yung print pag doon. Pero, kailangan nasa papel.
Hey, Kat, may I add a little?
Sure, sure.
Para
Attorney.
fun lang, para nakakatuwa.
Yes.
Kasi na-mention ni Rex ganda ng sharing ni Rex na yung mga letters niya sa wife niya nasa isang box and ganda ng story. But this is my story with my wife naman. Tawag dito, when I was courting my wife, there were also 3 others na yung isa actually the son of BSP governor at the time, Bangko Sentral governor. Yung isa naman anak ng isang congressman. And here I was just a dormer, cheapest dorm pa sa UP campus and nag-jeep lang and the only vehicle that I have was my bike. That's I would just go to around nagbo-bike lang ako. But I was good in letter writing and I was good in writing poems. So I wrote yung wife ko ngayon poem after poem after poem, and I think that's where I connected well with her.
Yan mo na makikita ngayon the power of the written word.
Yeah.
Versus the riches and maybe the fame that other people might have.
Yeah.
That's true. And I think the words that you write po in letters really leave an impression in the heart po, no? I mean, iba pa rin. Like, I also received a postcard, no? In the pandemic. I mean, I didn't expect to receive postcards from friends during the pandemic. And, you know, there's nothing like receiving what you have sent to your girlfriends, to your wives, no, and to mommy, and dun sa nanliligaw din po. Or asawa nyo na rin ba yun? Ngayon, mommy.
Yeah.
So yun. Okay. Sha, do you have anything to say? I know you like written notes.
I'm here to listen more. I'd like to listen to them and hang out with them.
All right. So at that point, let me just go to our next question then. To everyone again, what inspired you to write your books? You have your own national bestseller. So what inspired you to write your books?
What's the order? What's the order? Who will say?
Anyone who's ready is fine.
Ladies first, mommy.
Sige.
You can go ahead, mommy.
Ladies first daw. Sige. So
Yeah,
mga ano
Mami
yan,
Ann.
kasi yung mga kasabay ko ngayon talagang yung mga lalaki nung sinauna, the gentlemen of our generation, always ladies first. So anyway, ako kasi it was really more on leaving a legacy for my grandchildren. Kasi medyo mahabang kwento, no? I was a teacher who became an entrepreneur, and because my husband and I, we were not educationally prepared for business, kaya nagkamali kami, no? Dami-dami naming mga pagkakamali, and walang mentors, hindi usong mentors dati. So nagkautang-utang kami. And Yeah, long story. No, but anyway, it was only through God's grace that we were able to turn the business around. And sa dinami-dami ng mga lessons na natutunan ko sa process, so sabi ko, sayang naman no kung etong mga lessons na to mawawala lang. So I wanted to document the lessons for my children and my grandchildren, and naging burning desire yan para sa akin for so many years. Tapos nakita ko yung ad ni Misha, and I knew that it was the right time. So at that time, yan, talagang I went for it and no regrets, no? And now I really wish I did it sooner actually. So yon, Miss Kat.
And Mommy N, I can see because well, I was honored to be part of the process of your book na nag-proofread ako sa book ni Mommy N, and so I learned a lot also, and I think from where you are, Mommy N, ang dami nyo na rin pong na-influence. You have your Mommy N channel. I don't know if that's the exact name, but I see you po in Facebook, and you've inspired, and I'm sure you've helped a lot of your mentees already.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me... Sir Rex, kayo naman po, what inspired you to write your book?
Well, it's Kat. It's almost the same, no? I think when you write a book talaga, the real inspiration is to have some legacy or significance. I think a lot of people know naman na, I had a very good corporate career. I became, a CEO at age 34. So hanggang naghang up ako ng corporate gloves ko, I've been CEO of several companies, no? From startups to big, multinational conglomerates. And then after that, I got myself also into entrepreneurship. So parang ang feeling mo, di ba, parang you can share it. It's a way of giving back. Para, yun, tama yung sabi ni Mami N, it's makakatulong ka kasi hindi na kailangan ulitin ng iba yung mga pagkakamali mo. You can also tell them, all of your secrets. Total, I mean, there's technically what I realize is there's really no secret. As you share it, you become more proficient at it, and you help others. No. Again, also family. My wife and my kids pushed me. Siguro baka pundim-pundi na sila dun sa seminars namin every dinner time. Sabi nila, iba naman yung turuan mo, di ba? So, parang ganon, ano? And ako, I will be remiss if I don't mention Brother Bo. Kasi si Brother Bo talaga yung nagtulak . Talagang, siya talaga, he had all the patience in me because I kept pushing it back. I kept, I said I wanted to, but I didn't have the time, di ba? Sabi niya, you will never have the time. You will just have to try and do it. So, if I think about it, talagang yung naging inspiration is that drive to make a difference . Kasi alam mo naman, materially, wala na . Hindi na yan masyadong tinitingnan at this stage. More of how you can actually bless others . Giving back. Yun talaga for me ang inspiration.
Galing.
Thank you, Sir Rex. And I'm sure you've also helped a lot by being one of the mentors po dun sa Truly Rich Club Platinum Wealth Circle ni Brother Bo. They're lucky to have you and to experience and maybe to get more insights from you in terms of growing their businesses or their finances as well. Attorney Alex.
Yeah, ganda ng experiences ni Mommy tsaka ni Rex, no. I wrote my book at a time that when I was tempted to leave the country. No, kasi umalis yung dalawang brothers ko na sunod-sunod after the Asian crisis in 1996 hanggang 1999, 2000. So kasi umalis yung brother ko with the whole family. They sold everything that they had and moved to America. Bumagsak kasi yung Philippine peso noon . 1996, it was only 1 peso to 26, $1 to 26 pesos. Then by 2000, it became parang $1 to mga 50. So almost nag-double siya. There was a lot of panic. Maraming naggalisan sa bansa, including some relatives and some friends. I was also tempted. So my wife and we discussed it for 1 whole year. But after that 1 whole year, we decided to stay. But I was always worried. Sabi ko, okay, we stay. But what if 20 years later, lalong lumala ang sitwasyon sa bansa? And at saka yung 20 years na yon, dumating na yung last year, 2020. Compare mo yung 2000 to 2020, lumala ba yung bansa after 20 years? So yun, from 2000, 2020. So after we decided to stay, I told myself, is there something that I can do to help the country? So it was that reflection, and I realized that I was a writer because nagsusulat nga ako sa Business World, and I decided to write that book, yung 12 Little Things Every Filipino Can Do to Help our country. Because I believe in the power of small acts of love put together by so many people, everyone contributing, little things here, little things there, small acts of love for the country. And I really want our country to progress. I really want the Filipino to become great and respected by other peoples and by other countries in the world. Kasi I had several experiences when foreigners look down on the Filipino. I had a number of those experiences. The first one was during our honeymoon in 1995. No, we were yung boss ng wife ko sponsored our honeymoon trip to Europe, and nag-cross kami from Italy to Switzerland. May border yan, no? May border guards both doon sa may Italian guards and merong Swiss guards sa border. When we were about to cross, kasi sakay kami ng isang bus that bus was a insight tourist bus, no? So when we were about to cross that border, at nung nakita ng Swiss guards yung listahan ng riders doon sa bus, nakita nila may 2 Filipino at 2 Pakistani. Pinababa niyo yung 2 Pakistani at 2 Filipino. Kami lang. Remember, we were on a honeymoon. So kasama namin yung mga Singaporeans, hindi pinababa, yung Japanese, hindi pinababa, yung Chinese, hindi pinababa, yung British, hindi pinababa, yung iba foreigners, hindi pinababa. Kami lang, yung Pakistanis tsaka ang Filipinos. Tapos nang nandun na kami sa baba, the Swiss guards were parang ini-inspect ka ba? And so they were asking, habang tinitingnan yung passport mo, why are you here? And what is your work in the Philippines? How long will you stay here? And kita mo talaga, maramdaman mo talaga na parang minamaliit ka. No? And later ko na lang na-realize kasi marami palang Filipinos from Italy na nagta-transfer sa Switzerland at nagti-TNT sa Switzerland. Kasi iba pala yung composition ng Filipinos sa Italy at the time tsaka composition sa Switzerland. Most of the Filipinos in Italy at the time were parang domestics. Most of the Filipinos in Switzerland were mga healthcare workers. So, mas mataas yung sweldo doon sa Filipinos. So mahigpit sila doon sa border and they wanted to protect na walang mag-TNT ng mga Filipinos doon. But I felt it and I felt the discrimination and I could not even defend my wife from that. And it stuck with me. No? Sabi ko, baba ng tingin ng mga tao na to sa Filipinos. So, yun. And there are airports na kung minsan, pumipila ka na, pag nakita nila na Philippine passport yung hawak mo, papipilahin ka doon sa kabilang line. No? I've experienced that. No? So, I have this desire in me. I really want to see our country progress and I want the Filipino to become great and respected. And I believe that each one of us, bawat isa sa ating mga Filipinos, there is something that we can contribute. Small acts of love nga Small acts of love for our country and it would mean a lot. So that's why sinulat ko po yung book, yung 12 Little Things. And to my pleasant surprise, really nag-take off lang siya because I think the message connects with many Filipinos. Yun lang. So that's the story why I wrote the book. Thank you.
If I may, Kat, I'd really like to add on to that because syempre, alam mo tong si Attorney Alex, medyo masyadong humble ito Kaya kailangan dagdagan natin yan. You know, this book really made a tremendous impact. That book hit a lot of hearts, they hit a lot of minds. Alam mo, it's so simple kasi. You know, Attorney Alex, what's nice about your book is that we don't all need to be heroes to make this country better. You know, in what you've written there, simple. Ako talaga hanggang ngayon hindi ko makakalimutan the number one thing that gets to my head all the time. yung follow traffic rules lang.
Yeah.
Doon pa lang sa follow traffic rules, siguro kung lahat ng mga Pilipino will follow traffic rules, our traffic will not be as bad. Maybe we will save more than billions in our daily amount of time and resources. So I think that's the reason why that book, kasi again, going back to books, Kat, I think we all have to understand it's the way it impacts our readers, the way it changes them, the way it makes them act. I think that's what I like about Attorney Alex's book. Unfortunately, in our country, sometimes those things don't get that appreciated. Or maybe we don't have the avenues to make everyone, all the stratas of society really get to it. No, siguro kailangan, yun nga, I think we're going to be chatting about this because I have proposals for Attorney Alex for next year. Again, Attorney Alex, sana naman.
Rex, you are like some of my bishop friends who are encouraging me to run. And some faith-based communities who are encouraging me to run.
So we'll wait. We'll see.
Ano, kasi
We'll see what happens. Yes.
my latest book last year, it was 8 years in the making. It's my humble attempt to write a modern version of No Limitang Here.
Oh, wow.
So itong
What's the
latest
title,
book,
Attorney Alex?
500 Years Without Love. So it's actually 500 years without love from our leaders. It's in essence yun yung ano yun. So yeah, kasi without love from our leaders. So it's my humble attempt to explain to our high school students. So the book is written for high school students, but so it's easy to read, no? But it talks of the social cancer of today and the major root causes of our problems of today. But it is also full of love story. So there's a love story that
Pero sana Attorney Alex, sabi ko nga, when I read that book, and I might have to say, kailangan idol ka rin kasi ni Brother Larry Gamboa namin. In fact, your book was his gift to all of us, a mastermind ni Brother Bo. It was your book. No? So looking at that, alam mo na yung mga problema eh. Siguro kailangan we have to choose leaders who know the problems and what the problems really are so that they can provide solutions. Because if there is no real awareness of that problem, then we'll probably be looking for solutions that won't meet particular needs. So I guess that's the reason why people are asking you.
No, actually, Rex, because the last chapter of that book, I offered the solution. It's entitled A Dream Philippines. It's based on my studies of the 12 countries that I believe could serve as our model countries. There are specific policies and programs that develop their countries and their economies. And so I put it there. No? So that's why 8 years itong making itong book because of the research. And so after reading that, some of them said, "Oh, Alex, so how do you pursue your Dream Philippines? Will you stop being a writer?"
And
anyway, I'm sorry. I think we're talking.
No, that's fine. That's fine because we really need to hear more of things that we can do, as individuals in our country today. And your book, Attorney Alex, can help us, diba? And just simple things. Number 1 po sa book ninyo yung follow traffic rules, diba? As mentioned din ni Sir Rex. Little things like that. And even, I'm sure the insights that you have for the high school students. No?
Kat, if I may cut you, it's not little, yung following traffic rules. You can follow that for one day, but try following that every day.
Yes.
And the challenge is really making it a habit so that doing it every day that you really follow. So that's the challenge. It's not easy.
It's the consistency, no, Attorney Alex. Yes. All right.
Simple, very simple, but not easy.
Yeah.
Simple, but not easy. Got it. Got it, Sir Rex and Attorney Alex. All right. And I think there are just some questions that we already addressed. No, somebody was asking from the audience, how long does it take to write a book? So, okay, Attorney Alex, merong 8 years. I think it depends, no? I think it depends. Sir Rex, how about you? How long did it take for you to write your books?
If you're really going to look at it, it took me 4 years. 4 years for people to anticipate, the book itself. But me writing the book didn't really take long. I took 2 weeks. I think the real challenge is starting it. I have probably started the book for 3 years and 11 months. And then you wrote it on the last 2 weeks, right? So I think that's the challenge. And for me, it's very different, no? First of all, if it were just me, I probably wouldn't have ended up delivering on the book. I will have to say I give a lot of credit to the editors of Kirigma Books, notably Tess Atienza and later on Risa Kaupeng. No? Especially Tess. Si Tess yung parang pusher. I need a pusher who is going to nag me all the time. Kasi parang siya, nag-promise na kami na mag-deliver yung book. So marami na nag-iintay ng book eh. But I am not moving. So talagang tulak siya, talagang painstakingly, with all the patience to push me. But it's the writing process that probably got to be so difficult. So maybe for some of our viewers, maybe this will work for you. I can't write. It's almost like pagkatas ko na isang page, ayoko na naman. So, teka lang, trash na yan. So minsan 3 pages na ako and then parang mali yata yung umpisa. So balik na naman ako. You know what I did? And that's why I said 2 weeks lang eh. So I wrote myself a very good outline. It's much like my speech. Much like I'm going to be talking at a convention. I wrote the outline for the book. And because I was going to be in Palawan, in a place in Coron. One of our friends in Mastermind, Ronnie Shai Soiko, they had a company conference. They invited me as a speaker. Pero ilang beses na ako nasa Coron. So there were 2 days na they were like island hopping. Hindi ako sumama. Ako lang ang naiwan in the whole island resort. I was alone because it was exclusive for their company. So when they're doing this yung island hopping, snorkeling, you know what I did? I put myself in one of the cabanas. I had an outline. And I just talked, recording myself on an iPhone. I recorded the entire thing on the iPhone. And then pagdating ko dito, pinatranscribe ko. After it was transcribed, it went back to me. I revised, reorganized, then gave it to Tess, who fixed it up a bit, then binalik uli sa akin, ini-stitch ko. So, all of those just went so fast. Pero I think it's the initial stage that's really the hurdle. That's why momentum in book writing is really very important. So, I think that's what I have to share with people. I'm not a patient writer. I'm not practically siguro yun nga, articles for Business World, madali eh. 1 or 2 pages, tapos ka eh. Pero yung book, parang it was daunting. So again, the big movers for me was having a partner, having a person who's going to assist and help me. And the other is, yun nga, the strategy. I just spoke. I just had a recorder with me. And then that's it. Eventually, it became the book.
Mommy Ann, what about you?
Yeah, ako,
Any tips or how long did it take you to write
I
your book?
totally resonate with Sir Rex. Talagang uupuan mo tapos tuloy-tuloy. I also started I was in the 90 days book writing class of Miss Sha. No, so she already prepared us for the groundwork. So may mga groundwork yan like writing the outline and all of those things. So sa outline pa lang nakakailang tapon na ako, hindi ako matuloy-tuloy. Tapos eventually dahil meron kaming mga target dates eh. So what I did was, okay, I have to finish this. So inupuan ko from the outline to the letter, less than a week. Tuloy-tuloy. As in every day I would write. When the moment I wake up, I will just break for food and then sleep. And then the next day, continue hanggang natapos and then hinga ng malalim. Tapos read it all over again, edit, and then from there, give it to my editor. So, mabilis. Kasi kung hindi matatapos. So, it's not really that difficult in the sense that it takes a long time. Unlike Attorney Alex, wala akong masyadong research because the book was
Yeah.
about my life and I knew my life best. So lahat ng mga nangyari sa buhay ko, I committed it to paper. So that's how fast it went. Yon, Miss Kat.
So thank you for the strategies now. Now I'd like to ask you, LJ Credo from our audience has a question. No? What was your greatest fear as an author that you were able to conquer? How did you conquer it and what was the result? So greatest fear, how did you conquer it and results?
Okay. Sige, simula ulit ako. For me, it's really yung self-doubt. Self-doubt. Yung self-doubt that sometimes you feel that you are not good enough, your message is not good enough, that and that your message will even be heavily criticized, yung feeling of fear of rejection. Yeah, diba? Kasi especially if you have already established a certain name as an author, diba? Tapos and you're writing, ang feeling mo you must write something better than the previous one. So that's the challenge. That's a challenge. So yun, I think it's really the self-doubt, but prayers can really address that. Prayers. Pang ano mo dyan is really prayers. Nothing else. For me, prayers. Yeah. To address yung self-doubt. So yun.
Sir Rex?
For me, the real fear was sharing my story because the 3/4 of the books, dalawa kasi yun no? So I had like one trailblazing success and I followed it by firing on all cylinders, no? Technically, it's just one manuscript. It's one manuscript. We just cut it in the middle because Brother Bo was saying, Rex, you cannot sell a 700-page book in the Philippines. No? Sabi ko, Brother Bo, you wanna try me out? Because I know I'm a good salesman. Kaya ko yan. Tapos, ang sabi ni Brother Bo, ito na lang. Ito yung next hurdle. The Filipino normally doesn't read beyond page 250. 250 to 280, hindi niya nababasahin yan. So you will leave your book unread. So sabi niya, mas maganda yung bite-sized chunks. So, okay, so that's a bigger reason. So, sige. So, pinutol namin dalawa. But 3/4 of that is really all the learnings, all that. No? So, non-debatable yun. I think I'm very proud and I really know what I shared were true, they work, and anyone who gets to follow them will benefit from it. Ang worry ko talaga nung una, yung pag-share ko ng story ko. Because I shared my story, especially my childhood, which was tough because I know my sister and my brother will also read the book. Di ba? Kasi ako, ang umpisa ko talaga sa story ko, I'm the disfavored bunso. In a country where ang mahal na mga pamilya bunso, ako yung disfavored bunso kasi ako yung unexpected, yung akala nila kompleto na pamilya nila and then I came out para akong bonus na, okay, meron pa palang isa. My sister was the apple of the eye of the entire clan for 9 years. 2 miscarriages, hindi sila nagkakaanak, dasal sila, lahat. Sayaw sa ubando, ganyan. 9 years, may lumabas na firstborn son. Firstborn son. Okay, hindi ako yon. Yun yung brother ko. So kompleto na sila. Diba? So my challenge was growing up. I'm the disfavored one. Lagi akong rebelde, lagi akong ganyan. And I think I was saying a message that has to be resilience. So many times my father told me, and I shared it in the book, so many times my father told me, Rex, you're the only non-professional in this family. He was a lawyer, my mom's an accountant, my brother and sister are both doctors. He wanted me to be a lawyer kasi bata pa ako, madaldal na ako. So you're going to be a good lawyer. Nag-BA ako sa UP, tapos sabi niya, bakit BA? Bakit hindi humanities? Bakit hindi, sabi ko, dapat corporate law. Niloloko ko siya parang corporate law. Pero actually, I passed the UP Law exam. I took the tuition and ran away. Dalawang buwan akong hindi umuwi. When I came home, I already had a job. So talagang wala akong intention mag-aral ng 9 to 10 years, which is what law and medicine will be. No? Pero, to cut the long story short, afterwards, poetic justice. Because materially, I was blessed. I had a great career. And eventually, they live with me. My parents live with me. I provided for both of them until their exit in this world. So parang gusto kong sabihin, message ko kasi dun sa libro, ang ano ng dad ko is that a professional is someone who passed a board exam, someone who has studied a specific line or profession, di ba? Sabi ko hindi. Ang profession is someone who loves what he does and struggles each and every day to become the best at it. Yun ang totoong professional for me. That's my message for the book. Pero syempre, pag i-share mo yung mga ano mo, in fact, yung aking santol story, a lot of people, naglalakad ako sa Makati, bigla kakasalubong ko, Sir, nabasa ko yung libro mo, gusto mo, bili kita ng santol. Kasi yung brother ko, high school na yun, may yaya pa yun. Ako lang ang walang yaya. Tapos may nagregalo ng santol kasi favorite fruit ko, no? So may nagregalo ng isang kaing sa parents ko. Umalis sila, natira lang yung yaya, yung brother ko tsaka ako. The yaya broke one santol, gave me one seed. Diba? Siyempre, kakainin niya yung tamis, diba? Maghapon na yun. Yung one seed na yun, that's the whole afternoon. Lahat ng buong kaing na yun sa brother ko na yun. Okay? So, hanggang ngayon nga sa TRC at sa Light of Jesus, ang dami nagre-regalo na santol sa akin because of that. So my worry was, what? How will my family feel about this? And true enough, sabi nga ni Attorney Alex, prayers, alam mo, they really accepted it. Sinabi pa, nag-reunion kami dito sa bahay. Sabi pa ng sister at ng brother ko, alam nyo, totoo lahat yung sinabi ni Tito Rex. Ganyan. So parang even sila, proud sila dun sa process. Yeah. Because, we also had healing din naman as a family. At the end of the day, my father actually loved all of us. It's just that I wasn't favored. Pero hindi naman niya ako pinabayaan, di ba?
Yeah.
So, afterwards, parang naramdaman ko rin, yung palang fear ko wala din, unfounded din. Kasi my brother and my sister really loved the books. They loved the story. They even instructed their children to read it.
Yes.
That's nice to know.
Rex, ang galing-galing ng story.
Mommy N!
Yeah, sa akin naman it was self-doubt din. So, ang tanong ko talaga sa utak ko is, who am I to write a book, no? Who am I to write about business? Samantalang ang dami-daming mga successful na mayayaman na business owners out there na mga kasamahan ko kung saan-saang organization, no? Pero it was really Miss Sha and my classmates who helped me overcome my self-doubt. Kasi si Miss Sha, gumawa siya ng community, kaming mga magkakaklase, no? And without that community, I'm sure I would not have made it. Ang una niyang ginawa was to make us own up to our identities as authors. And then, meron kaming chat group na araw-araw, napaka-active. No? For more than 90 days, araw-araw yan. We would encourage each other. Araw-araw. Paggising ko, excited na ako makita yung aming chat group. Hanggang nakatapos kami, hanggang naka-launch kami, even until now, we would still greet each other. So, most of us, I think, reached the finish line because of the community. And other than that, no, na-overcome ko rin yung aking self-doubt kasi ni-remind ko, somebody taught me this, no, and I reminded myself that if God has placed this desire in my heart to write a book, siguro there is somebody out there, kahit na isa lang, no, other than my kids and my grandchildren, na isang taong kailangan niyang marinig yung aking message. Yung aking more than 40 years of sacrifices and more than 20 failed businesses, ang daming lessons nun na wala sa libro. And I have not met anybody who is as stupid as I am to have failed for so many businesses. So I think I learned a lot of lessons there, and it was my duty to warn my fellow Pinoys about my mistakes. No, my heart talagang nasa Pinoys, and I resonate with what attorney Alex shared. Nangyari din sa amin yan sa Macau. Hiniwalay kami. Not all the Filipinos this line. You have to go up there and go down. Maraming mga discrimination na gano'n sa ating mga Pinoy, and masakit para sa akin yan whenever we travel. So sabi ko, hindi pwedeng ganito na lang ang bayan natin, ang mga kababayan natin. No? And therefore, I thought I really need to help a few of them to start businesses kung kaya naman nila. And then para hindi sila mag-fail, then they can learn from the mistakes that I have. So I needed to show them how to succeed in business just like how I did. So yun, parating yun lang ang iniisip ko pag nagkakaroon ako ng self-doubt. Sabi ko, if I can only touch the life of one other Pinoy, siguro this is all gonna be worth it. And through it all, we were able to reach the finish line. So yon, Miss Kat.
Definitely, it helps po to, meron po akong narinig rin recently na parang be thankful or just cater to an audience of one. And from there pa lang, madami ng blessings na darating. Sha, so would you like to say anything about this as well?
Yes, I really enjoy listening to Attorney Alex, Sir Rex, and Mommy N. Siguro in my case, when I was starting to write a book, when I heard the call from God to write a book, it was such a burden for me because number one, I was not a writer. I really had no talent in writing. I was a math person. And number two, I hated writing. It was so dragging for me. In fact, when I was in college, I shifted to another course because I was so tortured by the so many writings in my previous course, public administration. So that was my burden, and I was just writing because I felt like I was just obeying God, and I was doing it out of obedience. And then later on, in the process of writing my first book, I really fell in love with writing. So I thought I was serving God by following His will for me, but it was actually Him who did me a favor because I found my passion, I found my joy.
Great.
That's a wonderful story. And I think we have just to we have a question related to this discussion from Rosette Resurrection. She noticed that the first batch of graduates who already talked about their books are accomplished persons in their respective fields, thus must have much to share. Will an ordinary employee who does not have any doctoral degree be able to write a readable book? In your opinion, our panelists, diba, from our discussion, an ordinary employee, okay lang ba po silang magsulat ng libro kahit wala rin pa po silang credentials katulad ninyo tsaka katulad ng mga authors natin?
Sige, Kat, because I think it's actually self-doubt. If you analyze that question
Yes.
is a self-doubt question.
Goes
Yeah,
back to that.
you must believe the inner voice in you. Diba? You must believe the inner voice in you and let that inner voice speak to the world. So I think you must really conquer that self-doubt, and only you can conquer that self-doubt. Pagdasal mo lang, prayers yan, prayers.
Prayers
And the Lord
present.
will strengthen you, yeah.
Yes, that's true. Okay, we have another question from the audience. Actually, this is also graduating today. From Mayet Casanova. What do you think is the future of ebooks and audiobooks for the Philippine or Filipino audience? So on the business side naman po of maybe selling books or the self-publishing industry. Do you have any thoughts?
Kat, I think it's going to be part of the landscape. No, we cannot avoid it anymore, especially during this pandemic. No, it's so hard to get by, receiving or getting a delivery of the actual printed form. No, at times it can really be very convenient to have the ebook and the audiobook because let's face it, not a lot of people are readers. They don't want to read. At times, even ako parang minsan, sometimes it gets to touch me really well if the author is actually reading me his book. Especially when it gets to a certain degree of emotions also that he shares as he reads it. But I guess the most important thing is reach. Especially with the likes of Amazon, the likes of all of these online platforms, 'di ba? Parang I think the writing is on the wall. We can see it on the business side to it, as you mentioned. To tell you frankly, National Bookstore has cut down the load, or probably the kind of inventory that they have of written books. They have, if you're looking at the shelves before to today, there's a big difference. So talagang alam mo that there is a shift towards online, there's a shift towards digital. So my suggestion to a lot of people who write, do it on both platforms. It's a matter of format anyway. You can let people help you on it.
Mommy N?
Yeah, I totally agree. No, lalo na ngayon, tulad ko, because my eyes are not that good anymore. Pero marami namang mga software na pwedeng basahin niya kung ano yung nandoon. Kaya e-books are okay for those people who would rather have a physical book. Okay din 'yon. Kaya I don't think there will be a problem sa market niyan, because knowledge is knowledge, no? So marami tayong makukuha sa mga books na hindi natin makikita sa YouTube or sa Google. So it will continue to be profitable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kat, ano siya, if I base it sa mga kids ko, my eldest is 24, the next one is 22, the next one is 20, the next one is 16. No? So all of them, may nagbabasa din ng mga tawag dito, yung mga e-books doon sa ano, no? Pero at the same time, each one of them also collects yung paper copies, yung physical books. Kasi iba pa rin yung may physical copy ka There is a certain touch to it, di ba? Na ganun mo siya, And I think that's the attitude of my kids, and maybe that's the attitude also of reflective of the attitude of many other kids out there. So I think the ebook will have its share, but the physical books, they will also have their share.
They have their own unique touch I think for the readers, no? And it depends on preference as well. I share the same sentiments of your kids, Attorney Alex. I still prefer talaga po the hard copy kasi nag-circle pa ako.
Correct. Nag-notes ka
opo. So, yon. I think an advantage lang, napansin ko rin po sa ebook, pag sobrang dami mong notes, pwede ka naman mag-search, di ba? Hindi mo lang magagawa yun sa physical book. Yon. Alright. Okay, so we're nearing the end of our time together, no? We've been having so much fun. But we want to ask you, for our last few minutes, what's your advice, our dear panelists, for aspiring authors?
Yeah, ako.
Go ahead,
Kat,
Marian.
no? Yeah. So, ang advice ko is, the desire to write a book, no? Pag nagtatanong ka man lang ngayon na, is it for me or is it not for me? Actually, para sa akin, yung desire na yan is a call from God. Dahil you have a message to share, to quote Miss Sha, no? Kaya para sa akin, the earlier you listen to that call, the better you will feel. Kasi kung hindi, kukulitin ka niyan, no? That call will become louder and louder if you continue to ignore it. So, some of us, we just need to find out, we really have a need to find out, paano yun? How can this be? How can that be? So, ang advice ko is, you don't have to know all the steps. Dahil this will be revealed to you step by step. So don't worry about the end point. Step by step lang. And just take the first step, and then the next, and then the next. And at the end, you will get to your book. So you won't regret it if you do it that way. Promise. Miss Kat.
Okay, so heed the call to write a book right now. Sir Rex.
For me, always focus on the purpose, no? You will always have a purpose and a goal for writing a book. as I refer to the question earlier, the fact that you're having this desire to write means that you have a perspective that other people might not have. So yes, you might not be accomplished, you probably won't have enough credentials. I'm so sure you have an angle on something that's going to be very unique. That's something to be particularly yours that you can share with others. So if you're going to be thinking about one, the people who will benefit from reading your book, the people who can probably learn from you. The second is like the impact also on your loved ones. The fact that your legacy and significance is going to be set because you have something tangible that will span generations. Kasi nandyan na libro na yan eh. It will be a generational heirloom as well. What I advise a lot of people in getting through this is, again, is a control of some kind of discipline. Kasi ako doon talaga ako tumagal. It's really the procrastination. Lagi naman talaga magkakaroon ng problema. Laging may other priority ka, laging mas may urgent na gagawin. But you just have to build momentum. This, book writing is a game of momentum. What do I mean by that? I mean, momentum is driven before you even write the first word. Alam mo yun, yung may kinausap ka na, you're already collaborating with someone, you're already thinking about the title or the topic, and then nagkuha ka na ng course, and then you're part of a certain community. You're building up the eustress around you. It's not stress. Stress is negative. Eustress is a positive kind of push, and you get that from all angles. As you build that momentum and that drive to work on it, then yan na yan, dire-diretso na yan, no? In the end, ako sa akin, malaking bagay is the declaration. When I said, I will be launching that book in the Kirigma Conference of 2018. Kung natatandaan mo yun siya, di ba?
Yes.
Alam naman natin when the Kirigma Conference happens, it's November of every year. Pero ilang Kirigma Conference ang na-miss ko, di ba? But when I said 2018, lalabas yan. O yan na, iniintay na ng mga tao, di ba? Siyempre, imagine, you will let everyone down if you don't have it. So declare it, have a deadline for yourself. Tapos hindi lang ikaw nakakaalam. Kasi pag ikaw lang nakakaalam, you can easily move the date. Pag marami nang naghihintay, di ba? You cannot let everybody down. In fact, your own loved ones, you cannot let them down. So yun na, pareho kami ni Mami and talagang 2 weeks lang yan. Talagang gagawan mo ng paraan para mangyari. Thank you.
That's true. Mabilisan talaga pag kailangan talaga pag naka-declare. Attorney Alex.
Yeah. There was this poet who said that there are no two leaves that are the same in a forest. Yeah, and there are no two persons that are the same in this world, despite the fact that we're almost 8 billion, more than 8 billion. So the light in your heart is unique, special, and that's your own. And the voice within you is unique, it's special, so that's your own. So believe that unique light in your heart, believe in that inner voice within you, and let that light shine to the world, and let that voice speak to the world. Remove the self-doubt. Yun lang.
That's wonderful. So shine your light through your books. Okay, final question. If you were given 30 seconds to share a message to the world, what would be that message?
Me? Ako ba mauna?
Pwede po. 30 seconds. Yeah, sorry, 30-second message.
The world is getting darker and darker every day. Let's fight and use the light within our hearts and enlighten the world. Yeah.
Mommy Ann?
Ganda.
It's business for our country is a way to go. So if you can start a business, then go ahead and start your business and grow your business for our country, para sa bayan.
Yeah.
Okay. And Sir Rex.
We are champions. We know we are. I mean, We just realized it now. We have a new hero. But again, much like Mommy N and what Attorney Alex would have mentioned, sometimes the Filipino doesn't believe in himself. I think that's the first big step in making sure that our country becomes a prosperous and successful one. It's all about a self-fulfilling prophecy. What's in our minds will become our reality. So whatever great ideas you have all out there, let's write, let's share, and we become better people altogether.
Let's write and let's share.
Yes.
Now, Sha.
Ganda. Oh my
Ganda,
gosh.
ganda.
I'm so overwhelmed by all the sharings of Attorney Alex, Sir Rex, and Mommy N. And I echo what you said. So for me, my 30-second message would be, you can be anything you want to be because you are worthy and you are loved.
Oh, that's
If you want to be a speaker, a singer, whatever it is you want to be, you can be that person. Believe. Really believe in that. And at this point, we just want to thank you, our dear panelists. We are so grateful
Thank
that
you.
we are surrounded by people who are so supportive and loving. These are really giants and they're so busy in their respective professions, but they really took time to share. Parang for me, and then na po kayo sa stage na you really want to share and make a difference and you really want to give back. And we're so happy and honored that you really made time for this, for our audience. And you inspired a lot of people who also want to write their own books and who want to make a difference in the world. I see a lot of comments. Pinipigilan ko lang po yung iyak ko, pero ang dami ko nakikita na comments dito thanking you, our dear panelists. So we're so grateful for you and we're so grateful that you made time for this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank
Thank
It's an
you.
honor.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
Thank you
It's
so
an
much.
honor,
It's an
Sha.
honor for us as well.
Yeah. Pleasure to
Thank
share the stage with Rex and Mommy Myrna and all of you, Kat and Sha.
Thank you
The
po.
pleasure
Thank
is
you
really
po.
all mine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.